Welcome back, everybody, to Eclipse's Book Club and Reviews. Let's just get right into it. You know, we do things here. Today we're taking a look at Roadside Picnic by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. And we got a classic sci-fi alert. Classic sci-fi alert. This is a sci-fi classic. This is definitely, like, spoiler, 5 out of 5 stars. Oh, god damn. This was amazing book. Amazing book. I cannot get enough of this book. I am so mad that I read this book so late. Anyway, let's get into the intro. The novel is set in a post-visitation world where there are now six zones that are known on Earth to be full of unexplained phenomena, with strange happenings having briefly occurred. They are assumed to have been visitations by aliens. That synopsis does not do this book justice, man. Let me tell y'all, if you should read this if you want an eerie philosophical sci-fi on a deep psychological analysis of the unknown and what a foreign alien entity on the planet Earth would mean in the human context. This book was amazing. I already said it, but I think this book is 5 out of 5. Maybe I'm hyping myself up. Maybe it should be like a 4.75 out of 5, but this is a 5 out of 5, a classic. This is a must-read for all science fiction fans. Now, I say that it might not be for everybody. And by the way, this book is based, the video game Stalker, which is based on this book, which I had no idea until just recently. Stalker 2 came out. I've never actually played the Stalker series, but it's based on these books. And I saw it on Amazon. I'm like, okay. And one of my favorite booktubers, his name is Bookpiled. He talked about this book quite a bit, and I said, all right, it's $3 on Amazon. Let me check this out, because I love reading video game. I love reading books that have video game adaptations. I think that's just super cool. But anyway, why is this book so amazing? Well, you're gonna find very few books that are gonna make you think and have such a psychological and philosophical way, in such a quantitative and qualitative way, meaning in such a short amount of time, what it actually would mean for aliens or speculated alien visitation or a foreign entity, let's say, to land on planet Earth. I have not seen, other than the film Arrival, I don't think I've seen a much better psychological analysis of this science fiction trope. I'm reading through this. It just had me thinking, man. It just had me thinking, human insignificance, where we are on the evolution scale, just the title Roadside Picnic, it perfectly summarizes this book, and what alien visitation would mean for aliens that are visiting here, but also how humans would adapt to the unknown on the ground level. That's the part I love the most. It's an examination on the ground level. It doesn't go so far beyond how these big government and there is an aspect of that, but it starts on the ground. You're on ground zero. You're just trying to make ends meet, and how you would adjust to that. And there is truly a human tragedy on what that actually would look like. And it does all of these elements really, really well. So I could keep ranting about this. So let's kind of go category by category to see what we liked about it. And characters was 4.5 out of 5 stars. The main protagonist, antagonist, whatever you want to call it, the main stalker. The stalkers is just an amazing concept. People who are, going into these visitation zones or the zones and risking their life to get things. And the reason why I gave this 4 out of 5 stars is that although the characters are great, and there's a great, especially of Red and the later half of the book, there's this guy named John Noonan, if I'm remembering correctly. The interactions and their kind of tragic story of their own takes about human insignificance, survival based on this context was great, amazing. But I would have liked a little bit more, I think, which is why I didn't give it the full 5. There was a couple of side characters that were a little bit forgettable, felt, but maybe didn't get enough screen time, in my opinion. But otherwise, yeah, just an amazing examination of what that would mean, what it means to be a stalker, the horror, the eeriness, the trauma, the deep psychological impact, the philosophical context, and yeah, like that on the ground approach from the character POV, and not too wide scale, was really awesome. I really loved this book. So for the next category, I gave plot actually the weakest, and this might be for a number of reasons. I gave it 4.25 out of 5. And the reason why I gave plot the weakest element of this book in my rating was I think I need to read it a second time to give it more appreciation, because the dialogue in this book was amazing. The world building, the philosophy, the writing, the prose, the characters, but the plot sometimes feel, and I guess that's how it's supposed to feel. Again, I'm rating this right after reading it. Sometimes I was a little bit confused about what was going on, mainly about, okay, what is this? And I think that's supposed to be the point. Some of the names of certain things and these kinds of things, it had me a little bit confused. Like, what is this? How's this driving the plot? And I think I just need to read it a second time to get the full. And it's not handhold. This book is not handholding you, right? Like you're given to the wolves. Like you have to but you have to be willing to also learn on the go about what some of these things are, and be okay with not knowing, because all our characters also don't not know. But sometimes it felt a little bit too much, and maybe I just need to reread it to get a fuller grasp, or maybe there's a couple nights where I just wasn't fully focused, that couldn't really get the depth. But in general, the plot, 4.25 out of 5 is still great. Like, let's not kid ourselves, right? But let's get into the stuff that we really want to get into. The next 3 categories is all 5 stars. Impact, thought-provokingness, prose, dialogue. This book will make you think. Human insignificance. Nature versus man. What does it mean for humanity if aliens were to visit us? What would it mean on the psychological human impact, and what actually would happen if the unknown grasp us by the neck? These kinds of things, and many, many more themes. This book will make you think, hard, will make you think a lot, and that's what you want from a sci-fi book. This book was amazing on this end. And the way that characters interact with these things in a tragic way, survival way, and the ending of this book was really good. I had to kind of reread the last 15 pages again, because I'm like, okay, wait, hold on, what is going on here? But in general, this book will make you think, especially about this. I've never seen a book or a film do human insignificance in the universe better than this book. And there's still a lot to read, but yeah, the human insignificance portion and how it weaves a lot of other things without diving into theology or God or religion, like that to me is really impressive. And man, the prose and the eeriness, I could feel it. I was like, damn, this shit eerie, man. Like, salute, like, shout out Red, like, damn, man, you going into the zone, like, shit. I was reading that, like, rare. I don't get that kind of reaction a lot, like the eeriness of the book, and then when, like, once I caught on to like what Monkey was, I was like, oh my god. Anyway, no spoilers on this review, but yeah, man, I was after I finished, I was sitting there, I was thinking about this book for a little bit, and I want to watch the film, the Russian film, and I definitely want to play one of the games, man, because yeah, this book will make you think in that setting, the setting, just the writing, and the writing was amazing. The writing in this book was amazing. It will make you think. The dialogue between all the individual characters, the way it describes the zone, it's so eerie. Like, I wish Annihilation, because I was disappointed by that book quite a lot, took a lot from this book, because you don't want to go too, like, you don't always want to lose the human element of your stories if humans are the main characters driving your story, and that's, like, so yeah, this book is a must read for any sci-fi fan. Again, I do think it's not for everybody, though. I do think that for some people this book might not hit the same. But if you like that eerie, philosophical, bordering on horror, it's not horror, but kind of on that line, tilting on that line, psychological analysis, in the human context, this book is for you, and you're gonna love it. And I'm sad that not more people have read this, and I'm sad I haven't seen this really on BookTube. So this book is must read. Anyway, world building. Again, I already kind of touched on this. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. The way it makes the zones and the grittiness of the Stalker, because man, this is like 225 book. So the way I was able to get, I prefer longer books, for sure. But recently with these kind of sci-fi books, I've been like, damn, okay, like this is pretty, like, there's a lot to be learned from this, because it's quality over quantity, and the way it's able to accomplish so much. I wish this book was 500 pages, because I want more, right? I like longer books, but the way quality over quantity in this book, and the way it's able to capture that eeriness, I was like, ooh, I was doing ugh, like these feelings of the grittiness of a stalker, and getting, the what's the word, like, to describe being a stalker? It would be like the drainness, the hollowness of, but wanting more of being a stalker. Got to go back more. The survival of the hollowness. The setting was so good, man. The setting was so good. I feel like it is one of those books I'll like even more the more I reread it, because again, that's why maybe I'm just dumb. I'm not claiming to be like a science or a science fiction, expert, right? So maybe I was just too dumb and wasn't able to kind of grasp some of the other elements of the plot. But the world building, 5 out of 5, man. Because 225 pages, bro, that'll take you a couple of days to read, and you're gonna get that kind of impact. Nah, man, like you gotta give credit when credit is due. Right? And that leads me to my last category, and that is fun. You read books to enjoy them, no? And I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I thoroughly loved being challenged. I thoroughly loved challenging my own perception of what this, and somewhere in between, right? Not this alien positivity where we're gonna have a galactic diplomatic empire, and also not all the way we're gonna be captured and harvested into eggs and shit like that, right? Like, the reality is definitely somewhere far in between, and definitely one of the best first, I don't even want to label this first contact, but for lack of a better trope, definitely in my top 10 science fiction books of all time. Nothing's going to be Red Rising, sorry, but it's definitely top 10 all time. I'd probably be like 4 or 5. I think I might like Children of Time a little bit more than this book, because that is quality and quantity. But anyway, I would say, again, please read this book. It is must read. This book also, I feel like, should be more in schools. I think this is a great book to be taught, like, for literature. I think this is definitely a classic. Definitely a classic. So I'm sure I'm missing a lot, like, in terms of themes, and I'm sure right before doing this, I looked on Reddit. There's like a huge Reddit thread, so I'm really excited to dive into that. Like, what are some themes I'm missing? Was the way I read the ending a little bit different? And I hate when books are like too ambiguous that you kind of have no idea. Like, no, like, this isn't so ambiguous that you can't catch some of these themes and these kinds of things. It's just, I'm excited to dive in deeper. Like, what does Reddit say? What do these people on Reddit think about it? Like, what do other people think about it? Like, anyway, please comment down below. Maybe I'll reread this book and re-review it in like a year and a half. So anyway, let me know what y'all think, man. 5 out of 5, sci-fi classic alert. Let me get the Lil Wayne sirens. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. Hope to see y'all again.